Prepare Like a Pro live chat show. My name is Chat McLean. I'm your host, and today my guest is Gerard Majda. He's on the Bodymajic, which you can find him on Instagram. He's got a huge following and is doing great things in the fitness industry. He's been known for being on the Love Island show, which I'm sure we'll have some fun about resurfacing that, mate. He's created a successful online business, a personal training business, which he's currently doing from home, and he's now successfully growing that business because it's growing at such a fast rate. He'll be creating his first facility, which will be exciting to talk about. And he's recently been also known for training AFL players in the off season, specifically focusing on their body composition, putting on muscle mass and dropping body fat. For those new to the show, our mission here at Prepare Like a Pro is to empower aspiring athletes and staff with practical knowledge from some of the industry's most inspiring individuals and to strengthen the AFL community. If you like the show, please show support by following us on Instagram and subscribing to the podcast around iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. Welcome, Gerard. Thanks for jumping on, mate.
Thanks for having me. Can't wait. Let's get into it.
Let's dive into the beginning, mate. What age did you discover you had a passion for personal training?
Yeah, so I did my PT course when I was 18, 19. And all the way through high school, I absolutely loved going to the gym and sort of playing sport and all that sort of thing. But I guess the whole sort of passion for the actual, the gym sort of started about year 9 or 10. I actually had a really rough time all the way through school and sort of very much used the gym as sort of my sort of escape from the week and sort of working out a really frustrating day at school, that sort of thing. And that's where I'd go. So there was a gym just down the road here. It was a Jets down the road, and I'd sort of, I couldn't get a membership yet because I was only 15. You can't sign up till you're 16. So I'd be waiting at the door, sort of, trying to seagull in as soon as somebody sort of came on out. So I did that for, a year. The more that I was in the gym, the more I learned to love it. And I was sort of starting to see the results in my body. I was playing sport better. I felt better. My confidence was, way more than before I started, which was sort of the big thing that was sort of lacking for me, I guess. And then all of a sudden just got that great little growth spurt sort of through puberty, put on all this size, got a bit taller, and then nobody fucked with me at school pretty much. So that was great. So that's sort of how it all started. Yeah.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for sharing. And no doubt that resonates. I mean, same sort of journey for myself. Definitely it was a confidence boosting thing. So that the mental aspect, and then you get hooked into the benefits of it, like you said as well, physically with improvement in athleticism and just
Exactly
looking
right.
better, feeling better, and all the other benefits. But appreciate your honesty, mate. It's sometimes some people, it's purely aesthetic, but really deep down, if we look into it, the gym is also a good mental place for us to reset and feel
Absolutely.
good about ourselves for sure.
Definitely.
So you started at a young age. Was that stirred on from a mate to join Jets, or did you just
Well,
research it?
my dad is really fit, so he's always been to the gym. He cycles. He's always played sport, and like even as a kid, like I'd be joining dad in for workout and do some squats with him and go for a run with him, kick the footy with him. So I think it was definitely sort of stemmed from sort of what I've learned from my dad. So I would say he's the one that really sort of sparked that sort of interest with it as well. So yeah.
And then when did you start thinking about creating a business out of it?
I did my PT course, my cert 3s and 4, when I was 18, 19. And sort of as soon as I went and did that course, I went, this is what I want to do. I just absolutely loved it. When you just know that, that's the thing that you want to do. So sort of always thought I was pretty good at it. But the problem with it, obviously, as you know as well, with the fitness industry, it's so overly saturated. And so if you can get through the first 2 years of you running your business, particularly being a PT, then you'll be fine after. But it's that first 2 years that's an absolute grind, and you're trying to sort of work out your training style. You're trying to work out your points of difference. You're trying to just sort of work out your style, all that sort of thing. And that was really, really tough. And I found that really, really difficult until I started training. It's my cousin's now fiance. They get married next week. It was the Bucks party I was telling you I was at on the weekend. It was his sort of idea for it. He's got a big social media page here in Perth called Perth is Okay. And I started training him, and he was just giving me these little tips going, hey, like, why don't you try some of the social stuff? And I really, really wasn't, about social media. I wasn't posting on Insta, wasn't posting on Facebook, TikTok, all that sort of thing. But he sort of just gave me a few tips and pointed me in the right direction as to little bits to start doing. And as soon as I got into that, absolutely loved it. And it just sort of started to take off and got a lot more interest, a lot more people sort of wanting to come and train. And I guess that's how it's really excelled is from getting into the social game. So yeah.
Sorry, I've just had an audio.
No, you're right.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep, yep. And yeah, so you mentioned your friend there that had built an online presence. What was your first step? Was it so Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah, it
YouTube?
was
There's
Insta.
plenty out
Yeah.
there.
So and the only goal was do one post a day. Didn't even matter what it was, just do one post a day. And to start off with, I look back, you have a flick back, 3, 4 years ago of the stuff I was posting and the videos that I was creating, and you go, what the fuck was I thinking doing this? Or why was I shouting at the camera? Or why, there's all these things you just go, oh my gosh, you thought that was all right. But obviously, if you do something every single day for a few years, you tend to get pretty good at it. So, it's just sort of getting that little bit better every day with how to deliver your message, how to speak to a camera, how to get your points across, all that sort of thing. So it was that was really just the goal, was just one post per day. And it's just, you get better and better and better at it. So
Was that through speaking to your friend as well as like researching or doing courses, or like obviously the repetition you got better at it through trial and error? But
yeah, I think it's very much, it's been through trial and error. Except for doing my cert 3 and 4, that's really the only sort of official course that I've done to sort of be learning bits and pieces in the gym. But with social media stuff, it's such like you can really just let your creative mind just really run wild. And there's so many different directions that you can take it, which is the beauty of it. But yeah, it was really very much just trial and error and just seeing, try this video, try some more info stuff, try some funny stuff, try some gym stuff. It was just sort of just chucking stuff out there and just sort of see what worked. And then again, once you're doing that every day, you work out what people like, what people don't like, what they engage with, what they don't, and you begin to find your little style and your rhythm. And then from there, it's obviously much easier to create content to get your message out, all that sort of thing. So yeah, very much just trial and error.
so, mate, it's good. That's
Mm.
inspiring for those because it's quite an important aspect now. I mean, we've always been diverse personal trainers, strength and conditioning coaches in skill sets, quite generalist
Yeah.
in what we do. But now, when you put the marketing, business management banner into it as well, it's even getting wider and wider the skills that you need, the modern day trainer coach. Do you have a schedule that you know over your week, or like you mentioned, is it purely just going with the flow, that creative juices, and just get into the zone? Maybe after a session where you feel your best, and then you start posting. Like, how
Yeah,
organized is it?
honestly, it really depends. So still the goal is I need to get 2 brand new videos done for the week, and I do them at some point. So, some days you definitely feel more creative than other days, but then other days you might bang out 2 or 3 videos and you've got them sort of stockpiled. So at the moment for me, it's 2 brand new videos per week, and then sort of posting on TikTok each day as well. So, but it definitely does get sort of draining coming up with all those different ideas and putting all that content together and sort of trying to be on all the time. So you definitely do need a bit of a spell from it at some point. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't flow every single day. But when the ideas come, you go, great, and you just run with it. So yeah, it is very much on the fly. But I think the other thing that, particularly with my socials as well, it all revolves around sort of my personality and me and my sense of humor and how I get it out. So it's very much just being honest. If I'm feeling a bit flat that day, that's fine. You can always do a video about, I'm feeling a bit flat and blah, blah, blah. But then when you're feeling really on and really, up and about, or you think of something funny, you just go with that. So I think that's sort of the beauty that I've got with mine, is that it does just very much just revolve around whatever I come up with or whatever I think on the day. So
Yeah, which it not only is that authentic for your audience, but also I imagine it's sustainable for yourself because you're not trying to be
yeah,
something you're not.
exactly right. Yeah, it's very much just like I said, if you wake up and you feel like, if you find something funny, bang, do that. If you find something that you want to make a point of, go do that. So it's a very nice little style, and very, very lucky that it's sort of, or not lucky, it's happened because I've put steps in place, and because I was posting per day and working out what my style was, and knowing my audience and all that sort of thing. So yeah, no, it's good. I love it. I love it.
And we'll get back to business growth in a second, but while we're on the marketing sort of aspect, um, is Love Island, collaborating with friends, these sort of things, is how important is it to build a brand Doesn't necessarily have to be a celebrity, but to build that presence if you want an online business, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think that you don't necessarily need to go do something real big like go on Love Island or anything like that to get a bit of an audience behind you. Or like you said, get a bit more of a presence. It's just working out your style. There's so many different ways that you can take it, and it just purely comes down to working out what your audience likes as well. So I don't really think, yeah, you don't have to do anything massive or drastic. It's just about doing the little 1% every day of whatever it is to then work out what your audience likes, what they respond to, what you're good at as well. So yeah, I don't really think you need to have to do something massive.
Yep. And then you mentioned Instagram was where you started, and that's obviously worked well for you. Is that the only one that you're on, or do you focus on a few others as well?
Yeah, I've just recently, probably just the last 6 months, just started doing a bit more TikTok stuff as well. But it's pretty much, it is a little bit different in sort of the content that you want to post. TikTok's a little bit more sort of raw, and you can just sort of slap a few things together and chuck it up. And it's more about volume on TikTok rather than Insta is a little bit more about the quality of the content that you're putting up. But yeah, TikTok, you can throw, it's bizarre. You can throw some stuff up on there and all of a sudden it goes ballistic. But then ones that you put a lot of work in do absolutely nothing, but go really well on Insta. So it's sort of good having a couple of different platforms as well, just so you can trial out, different styles of videos, but you also get different responses from both as well. So it's nice just not having the focus just on one platform it's a little bit more diverse and yeah, you can trial all sorts of different stuff on both. Yeah.
Yep. And for the most part, yeah, so 6 months you've added in TikTok, which makes a lot of sense because there's huge growth in with TikTok, of course.
Yeah.
But before then, you were on one. There would have been, I imagine, attraction to try other things like Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube Shorts and all these other ones. Why have
Yeah.
you stuck fat at one?
I think I just sort of knew what I was really good at, and that was the Instagram content. So it's just, I think, you should work on your weaknesses, but a lot of the time, if you can make your strength really, really good, that's just as good as sort of being a little bit all right at all the different things. So I just knew I was particularly good, and I knew how to engage with my Insta audience, how to grow that, how to make videos, how to make content, all that, and get a result out of that. So there wasn't too much point of needing to diversify too much and sort of take the foot off the pedal of how well the Insta stuff was going. Purely just to try the other ones out, but it sort of got to a point where I was like, all right, well, I think I can sort of do similar content, but make it a little bit different for TikTok. And that's when it worked out. And then that's all gone quite well. So yeah, I think it's also, like I said, if you've got a strength, hammer the strength. You don't necessarily have to, diversify it too much. If you're really good at one thing, go and hit that hard and make sure you're doing it the best you possibly can.
Yeah, love that. That's a great message, mate. And on that, like niche and audience, like you said, your Instagram audience was strong, so you kept pouring energy into that, and it kept giving back, and you're doing a good job of it. So it makes sense that success leaves clues. Just keep, you don't want to change a good thing when you're on it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
for someone that's trying to work that out, what is their audience, what is their niche, their personal trainer, like you said, it's very competitive. You can get pulled in all different directions, but you need to find your strength and what you're good at and what's authentic to you. How did you sort of come to that? Was it just through trial and error, like you mentioned, with the learning marketing skill, or did you know this is me through training clients? I'm starting to attract the same clients now. Yeah, take
Yeah,
us
I
through that
think I
process.
think there's definitely a bit of both. So I think that the only rule, I think, for any PT out there that's wanting to grow a brand or a business or anything like that, what you got to understand is the only real difference between me and lots of other people that have got their cert 3 and 4. Every second person has done their cert 3 and 4, is that you're you and how you deliver the message. So it's again finding your style and finding out how you like to train people, how people respond to you, all that sort of thing. And obviously the more sessions that you do, the more posts that you do, the more people that you speak to, the more experiences that you have in that industry and helping out people and achieving their goals, you become better at it. So it is very much just experience based. Everything that I've achieved so far, it's just through trial and error and trying different things and working out my style. And then once you've worked that out, just hammer it hard. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Thank you for sharing. And on the challenges, I imagine you would have had a few, or you probably still do. Like all growing businesses will have challenges. Early days, or currently up until your career at this point, what has been your biggest challenge, and what did you learn from it? How did you grow from it?
I think there's literally every little stage that my business has gone through. There's been so many challenges. So, but I think probably the biggest one, and you probably found this as well, and lots of other PTs and people in the fitness industry through COVID. I mean, that was just such a wild thing to say, hey, you can't do no gyms, no, you can't be training people, you can't be in contact with people, but you still need to make an income. You still need to try to keep your clients fit. You're still wanting to achieve things yourself. So I guess that period of having to adapt to that sort of 12 months or 18 months of that real heavy COVID stuff, that was probably the hardest. But from that, personally, that's when I really started it was actually just perfect timing. I already was building my online platform, and it actually pretty much was all finished about a month or 2 months after all the COVID stuff happened. So it was just this perfect timing of it was already there to go. Yeah, even with that, I still had to adapt lots of different things about the business and how to, get new clients in, how to keep the clients I've got, how to keep people motivated, how to still get the results for everybody that's coming on in, but on a different platform and in a way that I definitely wasn't used to doing. So, but that would probably be the biggest one. I'm probably sure that was the same with you as well. With everything, just trying to adapt around that. But yeah, I'd probably say COVID stuff for sure. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It threw a spanner in the works,
Yeah.
that's for sure. And you had to think quick, and
Mm.
clearly you did. So you had some things in the making, and then it sounded like this you were gifted some time with COVID, which you capitalized on. At that point, take us through sort of your numbers in terms of what's your ratio now with online to face of clients, not financial, but just how many
Yeah.
clients you'd have online, and
So
and now also
to
following as well. So you've got 80,000 followers at the moment. What were you reckon before pandemic you were at?
it's about 65-ish, so around there, for followers on Insta, and then TikTok. I had none, and there's about, I don't know, 35,000 on there now. That's just been a nice little build over the last 6 months or so. But in terms of like the challenges when they first started, I think my first online one I had 25 participants in the first 8-week challenge or 6-week challenge that I was doing at that time, sort of a year and a half ago. And then my most recent January one, I've had 150 just online. So yeah, it's been great. And then obviously I've got that plus the actual group training side that I'm doing as well. So it's gone really nicely. And I think obviously it's just the same as the experience that first challenge. That was my first time I was trying to deliver a program online to engage with everybody to try to get the results and sort of, give the same experience as coming in and training with me, but, through the website. Obviously it takes a lot of tinkering. It takes a lot of, I'm just more experienced at doing it now. I'm better at delivering the message, better at sort of, getting the most out of people, even if I'm not physically there with them. So yeah, I think it also, same with everything. It is just experience. And the more that you do it, the better you're going to get with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and have you sort of modeled yourself, or have you been mentored by anyone that's sort of doing what you're currently doing that you work towards, or who have helped you along the
Yeah.
way, I guess?
There's, well, like I said, Luke, for that, my cousin's fiance, that sort of helped us really start it up with the social media stuff. He was a big influence early on, still is. And if I've ever got sort of ideas to bounce off, I always go to him, and he sort of gives me some pretty good direction as to how to do bits and pieces. But in terms of like in the actual health and fitness game, I really like James Smith PT. He's a big sort of, I guess, role model of mine. I really like a lot of his content, how he delivers it. I think that would be really the benchmark of somewhere that I'd like to be able to get up to someday and hopefully build towards too. But I really like his stuff. Yep.
Yeah, awesome, mate. And for those listening in that maybe have a family member that is interested in training with you, or they want to train with you themselves, you mentioned an 8-week training program. What does that entail?
Yep. There's online or group training available for that. So for the online, it's getting at least 4 workouts done per week. And there's an option to either, there's like live videos of me doing the workout with you, and you can follow along with that. Or if you'd like to just go off the program, you can do that as well. And, there's all sorts of instructional videos to show you how to do all the exercises and take you through all those steps sort of, really slowly and making sure you're doing everything right. And then with that, it also gives you full access to all my meal planning side of stuff as well. So how I do the meal planning and sort of diet aspect of it is I'll give you a calorie target and a protein target. And then there's 60 plus recipes on the site that you can choose, very similar to using like MyFitnessPal. You can choose whatever you like to fit in with those targets. So it's not only just coming in and me telling you what to do, you're actually going away with the knowledge to then be able to apply it, after the 8 weeks. There's not much point of coming in and me being with you every step of the way and telling you this is exactly how you do it if you're not necessarily learning the skill of how to count calories, how to work out how much protein's in your food, how to program, exercises in a program yourself. I want you to be able to go away from the 8 weeks of training and be set up with all the tools that you need to, excel with every aspect of your health and fitness. So, yeah.
Awesome, mate. Yeah, so you're looking after them. It's not like that yo-yo effect where they drop all that weight, which can happen in the industry, and then you put it all
exactly
on
right.
plus more.
Exactly right. If you're coming in and doing it, I want you walking away going, I've learned something, not just I've done it,
Yeah, that's great philosophy. And it's with that 125 to 150 so that they can interact. It almost builds a bit of a community if they come in for these live sessions. I imagine there's.
Yeah, definitely. So, I chat to the online clients every second day. So I'll have a check in with them and go, hey, mate, how you going? How'd your workout go? Let me know how this, section of the workout went. How'd your meals go? All that sort of thing. So we're in constant contact the whole time. So it's very much I am with you and sort of just checking in and keeping accountability all throughout the 8 weeks. But it's more passing on the knowledge as well. So they do know exactly what to do once they finish that program. Yeah.
Yep. And then the AFL players that have started to come with you during the off season, how did that come about? Was that also organic, or did that come about something that you're interested in, athletic development with footballers and that side of things?
Yeah. So, well, actually, it's just started from my first sort of AFL player, like current AFL player that was playing at the time was Brandon Matera. So I knew Brandon from school. I said, hey, mate, it was the off season. Hey, mate, come on down if you want to do some sessions. He went, yeah, great. And then he came down, and then Sean was his housemate at the time. So then after Brandon started looking all right and was looking pretty fit running around, Sean thought, oh, yeah, I'll come down and do that. And Sean did it. And then once Sean did it, lots more of the Freo guys did it. And then when that happened, then there was more guys. It was just sort of word of mouth, and it's just sort of grown from there. So, but yeah, I think very much all the success that I've had with all the football fellas has just been from their performances going from here to even better, performing really well whilst they're playing or training. So yeah, very much just word of mouth. And as soon as there was that sort of that chat and that sort of word out there about it, more and more came, and it's been a really big off season, this one just gone. So yeah, love it.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. So that's something you'll look to continue to do as part of your business model. Like you mentioned, you're off air, you're opening up a space. Take us through the facility.
Yeah, it'll be good. So I've just been doing out of my buddy mum and dad's garage right now. I call it a studio, but it's a nicely decked out garage, but it's a double garage. It's got all my bits and pieces in there, but the space has just got a little bit too small for what I need to cater for everybody coming on in. So just looking at a couple of units in Canning Vale, still where I am in Perth, which will be exciting. So hopefully have that done in the next sort of 4 to 8 weeks and get that cranking, which would be really good. A little bit scary, but definitely the next step in the journey, which would be good. So, but it'll be same sort of setup. It'll be very much sort of functional movements, strength and conditioning moves, a combination of weighted stuff, resistance, programming, and then also cardio and jumping around in bits and pieces and keeping you fit. So good. It's going to be great. Can't wait. So it's a big step. It's going to be a good one, I reckon. Have to have you in for a sesh.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. If I'm allowed to come over in Perth.
I know. We'll sneak you in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, mate. It'll be exciting. Good thing to do. But it'll be for the AFL boys that integrate into your group, how does that model work? Like, is that they literally training with average Joe Blow, or is it separate classes for those AFL boys that are training with Fremantle guys, but there might be a West Coast player as well, or do you just is it more individual sessions?
It's it's a combination of individual, and then some of them will group up together as well, but they're always training with other AFL guys or other footy guys. So I had there was one, it was a good fun mixed group. I had Jack Carroll, I had Denver Granger, Jake Bassini, and a couple of the Freo guys as well. Heath Chapman was in there. So like that was sort of like a bit of a mixed group, and they've known each other from playing sort of, under 16s, 17s or 18s, state level stuff. So that was good fun. So it was quite funny having everybody from a different team all training together and really getting around each other. And so that was really good. And then other groups that I've got bigger groups of Fremantle guys that come together. Then I also had through Melbourne, I had their guys that they just drafted this year along with Luke. They were all training together. So yeah, it's sort of a couple of combinations of a few different groups. And then otherwise I do individual training with them as well. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome, mate. It's a good asset for those boys to be able to, get a different environment, imagine different stimulus, and like you said, just to get that extra bit of competitive edge.
Yeah. Well, it's I think it's as you know as well, the only time that you can really change your body composition is in the off season, because you're doing so much stuff during the year, and the goal is always to perform on the Saturday or the Sunday. So if you're really wanting to change sort of your body up, it can be done in the off season, but that's only the real time that you've really got to hammer that really hard, or you can really just zero in on that. And then the other part of it that comes with not just changing your body composition and looking good, it's also the mental aspect of it. Because if you go, gee, I'm looking good, I'm feeling great, you take that onto the field and you take that into training, and you can just see how much better they perform just from having that mental confidence of, I've done everything I can in the off season. Look how good I'm looking. Look how good I'm feeling, and they take that on into their games and back to the clubs as they get training again. So,
yeah, nice, mate. And you mentioned the angst that comes with opening up a new space, of course, which I imagine any gym owner would be facing with a new venture. Was that always a dream on the horizon for you, or is it just something that's sort of come on now that the business is flourishing and the business needs it?
yeah, well, I always really just wanted to take everything more online, and I was very adamant the last couple of years, going, nah, don't want a gym, happy doing it here and just focus on online sort of side of stuff and grow that even more so. But it's just got a little bit too big to cater with sort of the demand that I've got of people wanting to come and train. And I think with all COVID stuff happening, I don't exactly want 30 people coming around to my house every day. You know what I mean? So it's, I'd much rather have a space. And I think mum and dad have absolutely had it with all the noise that goes on there in the garage. And I'm very, very lucky that all the neighbours around here have all been pretty cool about it as well. So, and I'm waiting just for a knock on the door from the council going, that's it, get out of here. So it's just time.
Yeah, you've outgrown it. That's
fair enough, it. Exactly right. So no, it should be good. I'm super excited. Yeah.
No, awesome, mate. Super exciting, and no doubt I'll 100% when I'm allowed in, across the border.
We'll get you down.
For a sesh. Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll move into the personal side, mate. This is a bit of fun, the light side of the podcast. First one off the rank is, which movie or TV series has impacted you the most, and why?
All right. Well, we'll go movie. Movie, Finding Nemo. Love that movie. Right. So I'm into one of my little weird. I've got lots of different hobbies that I'm into. I'm into footy cards. I'm into collecting all sorts of different things. But I'm into aquariums. That's what I did before PT was build aquariums. That's what I did for work. So I've got a pretty cool marine tank set up. It's got saltwater fish in there, and I grow corals and all that sort of thing. So Finding Nemo kicked that all off in 2003, and then after that I got my first fish tank, and that's sort of what took that sort of interest and hobby for me off a little bit. So that was the movie. But then TV show, you're trying to bait me here, but Love Island for sure. So that was a very interesting experience. Don't regret doing it, but would never ever do it again. But so that would be the two, I reckon.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, I'm naive. I've never watched the show or don't really know much about it.
Nor have I, and I don't think you're missing out on anything. Trust me.
Jacko did mention, make sure you ask him a few zingers about Love Island. So, what you mentioned the you wouldn't do it again, but you don't regret it. So there was some perks, I imagine, with brand development and building your brand. There's some perks there, and feel free to add in more if there was. So I imagine from personal growth, just getting out of your comfort zone, those sort of things. What about what are the areas that you didn't like? So tell us the pros and cons of going on a show like that.
Yeah, so I guess obviously I didn't really know what to expect from it, and I had watched the previous season to my one, and go, it looks pretty fun, and it was just sort of idea, maybe you should jump on a show, that would obviously be good for Insta and the business, and just to see all sort of how that aspect, and just be a cool experience as well. Went all right, so we just sort of went and did the process of it and went on through and got on in, and it was nothing what I thought it was going to be like at all. It's you're sleep deprived. You're having these awkward conversations with people all day, every day. You're living in a full fish bubble environment where you've got no news, you've got no stimulant, you've got no phones, you've got no contact with, your friends, your family, the outside world. The only thing you know is everybody that's inside this house, and all you're doing is talking about your feelings and what you're feeling now and this and that and everything except for what's going on in the house you just cannot think about. So it was a very intense environment. It was very emotional, and your emotions, they're just times by 100. So if you're happy, you are the happiest you've ever been. If you're sad, you're so sad. If you think you're in love, you're sort of starting to get on with a girl, you think you're absolutely in love with them within 2 minutes, and everybody watching that on TV goes, oh, how could you possibly be feeling that? Or why are you so upset? Or why are you so happy about that? It's just the intensity of the whole environment. You don't even understand until you're in there. And a day feels, I'm not even exaggerating this, a day feels like 7 days. So it's just the longest day. And you don't have the time either. So you've got no concept of the time. They tell you when to get up. They tell you when to go to sleep. They don't turn the lights off until a certain time. You've got no sort of idea about what's going on, but the days just feel so long. And then, you come off and people always go, oh, I can't believe you're doing this or feeling that. Are you crying about this or whatever? But you just don't understand it till you're in there, because that is your life. Like, it's so intense. So, like I said, don't regret doing it, because there's lots of, good perks that have sort of come from that, but would never, ever do it again, nor really recommend it to any of my friends to do. So,
yeah, that's fair enough. It doesn't sound very appealing.
No, it was shit. It was just hard work. Yeah.
Yeah. How long did it go for?
I think I was there for like 40 days or 42 days or something like that. And that whole time you don't have contact with your family or friends. So that's the bit that I found the hardest, because I'm very tight with my mum and dad, my friends, my my sister, everything. So it's a very weird thing. I don't think there'd be any other time in my life where I'm going to be 30 or 40 days without speaking to them ever, you know what I mean? And completely shut off and not being able to call them up. And if I'm sad or if I'm happy, tell them about it. So that was probably the hardest thing. And everybody else in there, you only know them because you're inside the villa, the house together. So it's just such a weird artificial fishbowl environment, and you just don't have that sort of same support as what you do at home. You definitely don't take that for granted as soon as you come home, as to how good that you've got everything, and how important everybody else, not just yourself, is in your life to making you feel happy, I guess. So yeah.
And on the perk side, how many followers did you have going in, and how many followers did you have, I guess, a month after it?
Yeah, I had just over 10,000 when I went in. And then I came out with it was about 50-ish. It was around about 50. And then, depending on, every now and then, it's funny, you'll get like a little bit of a spike of, 500, 1,000 followers from a random place around the world. It might be from like, Sweden, because they've started showing our season of Love Island on Netflix in Sweden. And then all of a sudden you're still getting messages a year and a half later about, oh my gosh, loved you on Love Island. So it's funny. You get these little random little patches all around the world every now and then. So yeah. But so no, like I said, don't regret doing it, but would never, ever do it again. So
Yeah. Fair enough. Next question, favorite inspirational quote or life motto?
I don't really have a quote, but I guess like sort of what I was saying before is that there's not really, this is what I say to, a lot of my clients and sort of, one of the things I sort of preach about on Gram as well. There's not a lot of difference between today and tomorrow, in terms of you're going to wake up tomorrow pretty much feeling pretty similar to what you do today. But as long as you're doing just all those little bits that you need to do, to not tomorrow, not the next day, but maybe a month down the track, 2 months, a year, whatever, as long as you're doing all those little 1% bits every day, you're on the right track. So it's not really about making these big, giant, life-changing, decisions or behaviors overnight. It's just about working out what you can do a tiny little bit each day that you don't even realize that you're doing, that in 6 months, 12 months time has made a big significant difference. And I'm sure you found that as well. If you're preaching to athletes, the clients, the sort of people wanting to start businesses, all that sort of thing. It's not the big changes that make that make the big change and make the success. It's all those little bits that you're doing every single day that you don't even notice. And you look back and you go, oh, wow, look where I am now, sort of thing. So I think that would be the motto that I preach about the most, I would say.
Yep, the 1%ers love it. What about in your work life? What makes you angry? What are your pet peeves?
Oh, fuck. Social media stuff is just an absolute pain. Like, it's just at the moment, there's this real kind of, it's like full cancel culture. You can't have any fun with it. Someone's always going to be offended about something that you're doing, and sort of, the sense of humor in the videos and that sort of thing that I do as well. It is very much just taking the piss out of myself. It's not directed at anyone, but there's always someone that's unhappy with it and someone that wants to have a crack at you for this and that. And it does get very draining as well. Sort of, and obviously as you get a bigger following and there's more people watching your stuff, you're bound to upset more people, or people aren't going to agree with you or feel very passionately about, something completely opposite to what you said. So I think it's sort of, needing to build that little bit of a thicker skin when it comes to social media stuff. But honestly, it's just, it is a bit of a pain, and it sort of gives, the beauty of it is that it does give everyone a voice and an opinion, but the downside of it also gives everybody a voice and opinion about stuff that maybe they shouldn't have, or they don't know enough about, or they don't have the right info about. So social media, it's great, but I hate it. I'm sure you find it as well.
How do you manage it? Like, is it something that you just try and, if it's not relevant and you know that you haven't offended anyone, like you said, do you just brush it under the rug and move on, or is there a routine that you do at the end of the week? Like, is there a mindfulness sort of practice or anything like that you think's helpful?
Yeah. As of recent, I've turned all my notifications off for all my socials now. So I've done that probably for the last 6 months or so, because otherwise you're constantly, and I'm sure you're finding it as well, constantly looking. There's a message that comes through, someone comments on this, whatever. So you're always kind of looking. So it was always just very much a big distraction. And that was sort of what was on my mind a lot of the time. So turning that off, so at least that I have to go onto my phone to have a look at what's going on. That was probably halving my time that I was on it anyway. So that was a very good move. And then the other thing I've just started doing as of recently is sort of just taking a few days every now and then just to go, not going to do anything at all. I think it's sort of at the obviously early stages. If I was sort of taking a day off, I'd be going, I'm missing out on that one post a day that I was having to do. But now that's sort of rolling, and it's out there, and it's all much easier, and the following's there and all that sort of thing. It doesn't really matter. You can have a day off, you can have a week off, you can have whatever time you're off, just to sort of mentally recharge. In that time, I'm often still making content. So when I'm back, it's all ready to go, but actually just taking some time off and not sort of worrying about what's going on too much. Yeah. Seen Jeremy Sharp just checking in there. He's a lord. Yeah. He's a weapon. I love Jez. Hey.
I think you're getting some love from Gary Gus. I've dropped 30 kilos. I'm back from my army discharge weight before my injuries.
Excellent. We love that. Beautiful.
What's on that note? What is your favorite way to spend your day off?
So I've got I've taken Fridays off permanently now, which is great. So on a Friday I'll play squash with a couple of my mates. That's been pretty good. And then I go get a massage, and then I go do a cryotherapy session. Then I do sometimes a sauna, and then I'll go to I usually go to a fish shop and buy something for me tank, and that's my day pretty much. So that's just about every Friday for me, which is a pretty good routine. So yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then what about in a COVID-free world? Favorite holiday destination and why?
I absolutely love Europe. Hey, so I've done 2 Europe trips, and I was so lucky I got the last one in just before all COVID hit. But I absolutely love it over there. Hey, go party over there, see everything that's over there, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. Itching to get back as soon as everything's all good to go. But I usually sort of skip because the least busy period for me is sort of during winter. Everyone gets a little bit cold, and nobody exactly wants to have a shredded six pack and looking their best in winter with all your clothes on. So it's usually a little bit more quiet for me So I try to nick off somewhere for 6 to 8 weeks and enjoy that sort of chilled out time, and then come back and chase the sun a little bit. So I haven't got to do that the last couple of years. So hopefully get back into that routine a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're not alone there. Everyone's feeling pretty pent up and keen to get out.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and with I can imagine what your answer is going to be here, but for our final question, what are you most excited about for 2022? What's on the horizon for you?
Getting this bloody gym going, getting the gym going. I want franchises. I want one in Melbourne. I want one north of the river in Perth. I want one in Sydney. We're gonna get it cranking. So
Yeah,
should be
awesome.
good. Should be good. We'll start with the first one this year, and then we'll see how we go, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So expansions on the cards.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think sort of the how I'm going to set it up is very much linked in with the online platform and the gym sessions all in one. So you're sort of able to see what's going on in the gym, and you can go do that yourself wherever you are in Australia or the world. And then hopefully again how it's being set up, that it will be an easy plug-in to franchise it out or have different multiple locations for it. So very exciting times, a bit scary, but I think it's good. It'll work. It'll be good. It'll be great.
Absolutely, mate. You got heaps of momentum behind you, and it's ready. So no doubt, big things ahead. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing your time with us and your
No
journey throughout
worries.
the industry so far, and plenty more years ahead, of course, in your career. And looking forward to watching your journey and popping over and checking out this new gym, mate. So thanks again for jumping
Absolutely.
on.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Love your stuff. Thank you.
And thank you for everyone tuning in, either YouTube or the Instagrammers. If you want to watch this or listen to this recording, it will be on our YouTube channel if you've jumped on late, as well as the audio podcast will be in the next couple of weeks. We'll post on our Instagram when the release is out. So stay tuned. We're on all your podcast directories. Our next live chat is with Robert Augie, who's a professor and sports scientist at Victoria University. That'll be 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time this Thursday. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
I'll just click the record now.
Sweet. Hang on.